fucking Halloween today. And I'm going to get a Halloween costume. And by a Halloween costume, I mean I'm going to get a Viking helmet so my kids feel like I fit in with them while they go and pillage the town of candy. So, on my way into town here to pick up said Viking helmet, I wanted to talk a little bit about what you should look for when you go to look for your first bike, assuming that you have already chosen a particular bike in which you would like to have. In my case, my 600 F4i here is my choice. And that's obviously not something I'm going to push on you. You have your own choice of bike that you might want. That's fine, whether it's a dual sport, or a Harley, or a street bike, or a moped, or whatever the hell you want. So, when you're going to pick up your new bike, of course, this stuff will kind of bleed over from what I've learned to look at for cars, because believe it or not, bikes and cars are pretty similar in a lot of aspects. So, if you are looking to get a bike, the first thing you want to check for, actually the first thing you want to do when you get there is make sure the bike is clean. You know, look at the bike and just kind of check it over. Make sure it's not caked in dirt or mud or rusted to shit. That is usually a sure sign that whoever owns the bike doesn't give a flying fuck about the appearance of the bike. They don't care how it runs. They just basically drove it because it was fun to have, and when shit started going south, they just let it go. So, if the bike is not clean and looks like ass, a couple things basically to consider why it looks like that is maybe the bike was in storage for a long time, so it didn't get a chance to get cleaned, and they just took it out, and maybe they haven't had it for sale very long and haven't had a chance to clean it, and you were the first guy to come up and check it out. Let's face it, a lot of people are busy, have jobs, don't have time to do stuff all the time, so it is what it is. Maybe it was somebody else's, like a son or a daughter or somebody who was off in the military, or they moved away and they just were storing it and they just didn't have time to clean it before they left, and it's just been kind of chilling and they finally want to get rid of it, or the parents got tired of staring at it, so they're selling. It's possible, but generally most of the time it's because the owners are negligent as fuck and don't give a shit. So we'll presume the bike is clean. So you can skip all that what if and move straight into checking the tires over. You want to make sure the tires are in relatively good shape. If they're not, you know, it might be a good idea to know how much a tire is going to cost going into it. You might be able to, dicker them down a little bit and, add that to the list of stuff. Say, look, this isn't right. Or if they said that it was good to go in the ad, and a bad tire is, it might be good to go, like you can hop on it and drive it, but it's not a good tire. It's not as safe as the tire could be. You want something with some traction, something. If you get stuck in the rain, it's not going to skid all over the place and send you off in the fucking woods. So, that's that. If the tires are good, You want to look at the shocks, the fork seals, and the shock in the back. Make sure there's no like wetness around any of them. They're not leaking, because if they're leaking, that's a sure sign that they are blown or they're on their way out, and you're going to have to deal with that. And I've actually done that on a bike for a buddy of mine that I helped him out on his briefly, and it's not a hard job, but it's not like a fun job either. So, and it doesn't cost that much money really, but most people will probably just pay a shop to do it because they're uncomfortable doing it and they've never done it before and they don't want to mess anything up. So, if that looks good, and that all checks out, fork seals are all good, your shocks are good, check the fluids, make sure, most of them, like on my bike here, there's a little window on the side of the fairing and you can see the oil. If you stand the bike up straight, you can see the oil, you can see how clean it is. If it's pitch black and disgusting, it probably hasn't been changed in a while, and that's probably not a real good sign. If it's honey colored, it's got that nice golden yellow look to it, it's probably alright. And that means that they've probably taken care of it. You can check the overflow tank for coolant, make sure that's good. The air filter is going to be nearly impossible for you to check unless they want to tear it all apart for you right there, which is highly unlikely. So you just anticipate on doing one of those at some point. And the other thing, is if the oil is bad, you got to change the filter and all that crap too. So it is what it is. Check the exhaust. Make sure the exhaust is fairly clean, not beat to shit. No holes in it or anything. It's probably a lot more unlikely on a bike than it is on a car that the exhaust will be totally shot and you need to buy another one. So that's just kind of like a attention to detail thing. If it's good, great. If it's bad, that's up to you. The other thing is to basically check all the lights, make sure all the lights work just like on a car. Check the blinkers, check the brakes, check your headlights, high beams, low beams, check your horn, make sure that's good. I'd check the grip on my bike, make sure the throttle cable wasn't all stretched to shit, and make sure it was fairly tight. Check the brakes, push the bike a little bit. If it's your first bike, you're probably not going to ride it because you're uncomfortable, but you're probably going to want to sit on it anyways. Just check them, make sure that they grip, push the bike a little bit, make sure they lock up okay, front and rear. If that checks out, that's pretty much everything that I would look at that, in that aspect. Make sure all the dash lights work and everything, the cluster lights and the tack and everything. Other than that, first thing when you get there, it's good ethic. If the guy is an honest dude or a lady and they've kind of done this before and they know the good ethic, they will, when you first get there, the bike will be cold and they will show you that the bike is cold and they will start the bike and they will let it run the whole time. And if they're really cool, they will take it out for a ride, just so you can see. They'll drive it around a little bit and show you. Or if you're obviously buying and you feel comfortable riding, because you've ridden dirt bikes and stuff, you can take it out, ride it around, and get used to it and see how it goes. And kind of go from there. And if all that checks out, and it doesn't, knock or smoke, make any horrific clicking noises, the clutch feels good, I would say you're pretty much all set to go, really. I mean, fortunately, a bike over a car, there's a lot less involved in terms of, like, it's hard to hide problems on a bike as opposed to a car. So that's good. So that's basically what I did when I went over everything. I just kind of checked the whole bike over as a whole, made sure everything was really good. you know, or up to my likings. My windscreen had a crack in it, and my seat fairing on the side had a crack in it. And that was it. Everything else was really good, so I couldn't honestly complain that much for the money. And so I took my bike, you know, it was good. I was happy with it. So that's what I would do anyways. I have reached the destination to buy my Viking helmet. So I'm going to go ahead and park this thing here and call that good for my Halloween expedition. Maybe later this evening we'll go out and ride around and check out some candy getters. But I said I'll be with my kids for a while, so if you found this informative, go ahead and like and subscribe.